Are we live?
Yeah.
Hey, welcome to Sister Biz. It is Nicole from ANC Pack and Ship, and tonight we have some special people. First coming, we have Miss Lisa Pierce. Lisa, tell us about yourself.
Oh, so nice to be here, Nicole. Happy International Women's History
Yay!
Month.
Hey, yeah,
Yes.
that's
We
it.
get a whole month. Uh,
And we need it. We need it. So many
we do.
accomplishments, so many beautiful
Yeah.
women doing big things. Very
Yes.
proud. Very
Yes.
proud. So,
And so
yeah.
I was just sharing with Donnie. I said, you gotta get used to my new name. I just got married 3 weeks ago. So
Okay,
I
congratulations.
gotta get used to my new name.
Oh, hey, so tell us the name. Is it's
Pierce.
Lisa Pierce? Okay,
Yeah,
okay,
so
perfect.
for 31 years it was Phillips.
Okay, okay.
And
So you
so
didn't do the hyphenated, like people be like Phillips, Pierce.
yeah, so they said that I could, but Phillips is my former married name. I was married to
Okay.
a Phillips, and um because I enjoyed that all my children were little Phillips, and so I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to, even though we got divorced in 2006, I wanted to keep the name. And
Right,
so
right.
and it's so funny because I remember the judge saying, now, he has to give you permission to keep his name, and if you ever make it big, and it hadn't under that name, he's entitled. And I said,
Really?
yeah, at the time, Nicole, I had
Wow.
about $29 in my checking account. So
Mm-hmm.
so I didn't
It
think
was
it was
like
a
I'm keeping
problem,
it.
Yes. And
Wow.
so, but it's funny because I told him, I said, when I'm ready to give you your name back, I'm going to give your name back with honor. And so 3 weeks ago, I gave him his name back. And so,
Oh
yeah.
wow. Well, congratulations on that. Marriage can be a beautiful thing. A real
Yeah.
beautiful
I
thing.
mean, you know, um, when you change seasons with a person, that's how you know if it's the real deal, if you will, And
Mm-hmm.
so we've changed seasons a lot.
Okay.
So,
So he's very
um,
supportive of your business.
oh my goodness, it's so funny, because it wasn't always like that. And
Mm-hmm.
uh, I was in a, a, award ceremony with Bob Wallace, and
Oh
he was
wow.
telling a story, and he said, if you are an entrepreneur and you have a spouse that is not, you need to show your spouse that this works. And so,
Mm-hmm.
and you need to show immediately. And so that hit me like a ton of bricks because I was so busy trying to build the business that I never, shared with him if the business worked, if the business made money. And so I never forget when I got my first state contract, um, and I had done the work and build the state for my first payment. And Nicole, for a person like me who grew up in the projects and, never ever had money and never even had a relationship with money, my first payment from the state was
Wow.
$50,318.73. And I took a picture
Wow.
of the check. And
I
so,
bet.
and uh, I showed it to him. And I have not had any complaints from him ever since. So Bob Wallace is a genius
Mm-hmm.
because that was something that resonated with me. And you do have to bring the people that you love, you have to bring them in, and you have
Right.
to share with them that, look, now don't get me wrong, Nicole, I mean, it ebbs and it flows. And so
Mm-hmm.
um and while I was building the business, I was also going to school. And so sometimes it felt like we were just passing each other in the hallway,
Right.
because
Mm-hmm.
I was going to school and then running, trying to build a business. And then I always say God will do something or allow something to really get your attention. And in
Right.
2018, I was diagnosed with a brain tumor.
Oh
And
wow.
that totally changed the calculus, So,
Mm-hmm.
um, entrepreneurs, we're wired differently. You know,
Mm-hmm.
we're thinking about our customers, we're thinking about, and when that happened, suddenly you have to think about, well, am I going to live? And so,
Exactly.
especially since I was a person, I was never sick before. So it was just something just so devastating. And, now your life is full of doctor's appointments and specialists and scans and, and waiting because unlike a breast tumor or something, like they couldn't just biopsy it. They had to get in
Right.
there. So,
Exactly.
and it was so complicated that the doctors told us that I had to wait 2 months, even though I was in a critical situation. They didn't even have the equipment here. And this is Johns Hopkins. They had to get the
Wow.
equipment from a hospital in Dallas. So just the logistics of it, and you're just sitting waiting, and you can't read everything, because if you read too much, you'll scare yourself to death.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly.
but the good thing that happened is that I was already deeply, I had a deep relationship with, God, and my faith was already, um, you know, in, I was already in a good place with my faith. And people don't understand that when you're in business, you really get close to your faith and close to whatever God
Exactly.
you serve, because a lot of it is about you believing in yourself and you having
Hmm.
confidence, but also having faith in yourself and having faith in God that this is what you're supposed to be doing. So,
Exactly. So, in regards to your health, how are you doing
yes.
today?
So the wonderful thing is that um, I responded well to everything. So I responded.
Amen.
The surgery did not go too well because the where the tumor was placed, I always say it was so disrespectful. It was behind my right eye.
Oh,
So
wow.
they couldn't, it was so hard for them to get to it. And when they got to it, it had all these, blood vessels tied around it. So it was so hard to get to. So um, at some point, they said, well, if we just try to just keep trying to get to it, she could get hurt. Just,
Right.
she could, by us just trying. So that's when they said, well, let's try with radiation. And so
Hmm.
um, the surgery was only successful 30%. And I had to do 30 rounds of radiation. And I said, if I ever write a book, I'm going to write a book and name it 30, the 30/30 Club. So, um, and if anybody that's ever been through radiation,
Hmm.
radiation was tougher than the surgery,
Right.
because
Side
the
effects.
when you are an entrepreneur, you are constantly just moving.
Hmm.
And when you do radiation, you can't move.
Right.
Like I remember trying to wash dishes, and the exhaustion that you get from radiation. I had to sit in a chair just to wash dishes.
Wow.
And it was, so the radiation was even more cumbersome. So imagine, Nicole, that you're going through this medical treatment, you have this devastating diagnosis, and then on top of it, your business is imploding around you. So,
Hmm.
and it was a test of endurance, resilience, faith, and a test of your own strength. And I remember when I was younger, my mother she labeled all her kids. She would call my sister. Remember Thelma from,
Good times.
no, not Good Times, from the
Scooby Doo.
Sherman Hemsley. The pastor, remember she was crazy about the pastor.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yep. Hmm.
So
Amen. It's called Amen.
Amen, yes.
Yep.
So the one that was always chasing the pastor,
Right.
um, that's how my sister looked. My sister was just beautiful, just like her. And so my
Hmm.
mother always called my older sister, beautiful, and she was. And she always called my little sister my younger sister, smart. And she always called me strong. And so for a girl, a little girl, you're thinking that that's something negative. But in actuality, it just confirmed that mothers know their children.
Right. They do.
And even my siblings said, She always said that you were the strongest. And 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 then over time I really realized it, but when I got sick I really realized it. And so I tell my students, teach your children to be strong. Don't teach them to be popular, the
Yep.
prettiest. Teach them to be strong, because this world is mean, and so
Brutal.
and
Brutal.
brutal, and you got to be able to endure and persevere, and sometimes do it when a smile and you're crying on the inside. And
Mm-hmm.
you got to be able to hold on, because
Mm-hmm.
you know i i I always tell my students, because I mentor other entrepreneurs as well, and I always
Okay.
tell entrepreneurs, don't chase money, chase mission. Because if
Exactly.
you are about a mission, number one, the money is going to come. But when
Mm-hmm.
people see that you are about a mission, God sends people and resources, and and so that, and money plays a role, but money is not top of line. It's not.
No, it's
It's
not.
not.
Mm-mm.
There's so much you need in business, and the money is almost like five or 5A or six. So because you have to be um, positioned for money,
Mm-hmm.
or else you won't do right by it, and it won't
Exactly.
benefit you. Yeah. So
Okay. So tell me like about your business. So we're gonna rewind and go
okay,
back just a
okay.
tad bit. And basically like when you established your business, you were already established prior to you getting the diagnosis. So you were
Yes.
at the point where you have like fulfilled, just delegated a lot of the tasks
Well,
or
I had a unique. My business was structured uniquely because it was
okay.
built. So let me take a couple of steps back. My business, I was very fortunate that my business was built in my MBA program.
Okay.
So I was very blessed to get accepted into a very, aggressive and very intense dual MBA program with Towson University
Okay.
and the University of Baltimore. And I always tell people that
Okay.
I swear I burnt my poor brain out trying to you know, uh, get through that program. But I'm to tell you how my business started. I'm 52 years old, and um, I like to say that my first 25 years of my life, I was the worst of Baltimore, you know. And the second 25 years of my life, I was the best of Baltimore. And so
Okay.
um,
Okay.
it was what I learned from being the worst of Baltimore. What I mean is, I was a person with a nasty attitude. I thought it was all about me. I thought that nobody should care about anybody else's problems but mine. And I never raised my hand to help anyone. And so one of the things that I teach my students is, you're going to eventually start to look like your decisions. So success has a look, but so does failure. And so when you match your age with your accomplishments, you'll really be able to see if you've made good decisions in your life. And if you haven't, you're going to start looking like it.
Mm-hmm.
And one day I had an epiphany. I ran into somebody I went to high school with, and she had this big job with this hospital system. And I remember helping her with her homework on the bus. And I remember, like, wow. And me, I was a certified bum. I had no job, I had no education, I had no work skills, no training. I had nothing but a bunch of problems and a big mouth. And my life looked like it. And um, I lost custody of my children. And so that's why like I said, when I told my ex-husband, I brought shame to your name, but when I give you your name back, it's going to be restored with honor. And so um, what ended up happening was um, I really got to a place where I was angry. I got
Mm-hmm.
so angry at myself because um, when you are a person that you look for others to blame, um, you never look at you. And so
Mm-hmm.
seeing my classmate forced me to look at me. And when I looked around, there was nobody to blame. And so you know, I took that anger and I got busy. And
Hey,
I
yep.
started with a 5-year plan. And in the first year, the list was long. I had a lot to catch up. I had a lot to
Hmm.
do, but I let that anger and I let that
Feel
disappointment,
you.
fuel me. And so um, I always, wanted to work in a hospital. And so I had to enter into a welfare to work program. And I did medical billing and coding. And it was
Okay.
the first time in my life that I had ever completed something. And I got hired by Johns Hopkins. And it was my first quote unquote good job. And I saw my life, start to take shape. And my brother has been working for the mayor's office for about 25 years. And I knew that he would help people get jobs and help people get into training. And so I went to him one day and I said, I want to do what you do. And he said, well, do you know what I do? I said, well, I know you help people get jobs. And he
Hmm.
said, yeah, I do that. And he said, well, if you want to do what I do, you have to work in the field so you can learn how to build relationships and so you can learn the job. So he helped me get a job at Job Corps.
Okay.
And my first workforce training experience and exposure was helping Job Corps graduates come back into the community and get jobs. And so you had to be a person that could build relationships and so um, one of the things that is wonderful, but it doesn't feel wonderful, is when you discover the things about yourself that don't involve money. And so I didn't have any. And so when you don't have money, you have to lean heavily on things like creativity, kindness, things that are going to help you to get what you need because you just don't have the money to do it. And so one of the things that helped me the most, two things, is I got saved in 2006, and then I
Congratulations.
thank you. And I went into counseling in 2007. And so with those two things was so life changing for me because it allowed me to lean on something that I had no control over, right?
Hmm.
I had no say in it. And that's the way you shut a big mouth person up. You make
Hmm.
sure that it's something that they can't, you know, weigh in on. It's got to be something that they get based on their effort. And so
Hmm.
um, I went into counseling and I did some wonderful work in counseling. Uh, my first, my business was called Celebrate Us because I discovered in counseling that one of the challenges I had was that I was never celebrated in my life. I never
Hmm.
had a birthday party. I never had a baby shower. I had 3 children, but no, nothing that ever affirmed me. And so
Hmm.
I said, I want to start a business that celebrates people.
Well, I
And
applaud you for the definitely for the counseling because it's such a it's almost like a stigma in the minority community where
yep,
most people
what
don't
goes on in this
even
house stays in this house.
and
And
you know mental health
it's
is so
terrible.
important. It is so
Yes,
important
it's
to
so
stay in
important.
touch, you know, whether it's relaxation and resting or just talking and talking it out with other people. So I definitely applaud you for, you
Well,
know, getting
one of the
counseling.
things that failed us in my generation was, we were always told what goes on in this house stays in this house.
Hmm.
And when you have that kind of philosophy, what you fail to realize is you are planting a very bitter seed inside of
Hmm.
someone. And it starts to grow and fester and cause people to lose motivation and hope. And so then when you turn 18, the same people expect you to go out into the world and be productive. Well, you
Right.
can't, and until um, you develop tools to address your challenges. And that's what counseling is. It's a platform for a trained individual to teach you tools on how to understand your behaviors.
Mm-hmm.
So, I was, I was cookie cutter, angry woman. I was angry, and anger comes from disappointment, and and it festers because you don't disseminate it properly. And so
Mm-hmm.
I I knew that if I wanted any chance at success, that I had to build a structure in my life with getting answers to my behavior, because my behavior had already caused so much loss. And I got to a place where I was just tired of losing. And so
Okay.
I went to counseling. And one of the pictures that are so dear to me is when I graduated from Coppin State University, my therapist came to my graduation.
Oh.
And I really shared that with my students, because still people, treat counseling as if it's,
Mm-hmm.
you're a leper or something, and you're
Right.
not. You're getting the help that you need. And trust me, I wouldn't be talking to you today if I didn't take that step to get answers and tools to my challenges. And it was in counseling that she said, you're broken, but all you see is your brokenness. You don't see the beauty in you. And she said, I
Mm-hmm.
want you to get a hobby where you see pieces and you build it into something beautiful. And so I tried different things. And my first business was a gift basket, a gourmet gift basket company. And once again, when you have no money and you have no marketing, you have to be creative.
Creativity. Yep.
And so my creative mind um, caused me to look at who were the anchors on TV that were pregnant. And at the time, Patrice Saunders had announced that she was pregnant, that she had a girl. She was having a girl. And I sent her a baby girl gift basket.
Oh.
And she loved it. And the next thing I knew, a producer from Fox 45 called me and said, Patrice Saunders loved that basket, and she want to know, would you like to come on the air and do a demonstration for the viewers? And that one,
Opened it up.
you know, and I had been on Fox 45 for my gift baskets 11 times.
Wow. Wow.
And the business was, quite successful. But but I was in business school, and they teach you how to take, strategic and calculated risk. And so, I transitioned from gift baskets to parties and events. And
Okay.
my specialty became children's parties. And so, I would do those really elaborate parties, like the 2-year-old coming in on the baby BMW, like
Oh. Okay.
because because everybody needs to be affirmed.
Mm-hmm.
And even if that baby's too young, save the tape and
Right.
let them watch it when they're 13 and see how they've been celebrated,
Mm-hmm.
because that builds out our self-esteem.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're not affirmed, you never think you're good enough.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how you get into trouble. And so,
Mm-hmm.
but then I got sick and I couldn't do that business anymore. But I was already in my grad program building the workforce training business. And
Mm-hmm.
so, and how that came about is the Monday after I graduated from Coppin, I called the Department of Social Services and I said, I would like to mentor some women on welfare. And so the gentleman that answered the phone, he said, oh, wow, we never get anybody that want to mentor our students. Most people want to run away from our students. and
Wow.
and I said, well, I was one of your students. And he said, well, I thought you said that you just graduated from college. I said, I did. He said, well, when were you here? I said, I was there in 2008. And he found me in the system and he was like, wow, so you graduated from college? When did you do that? And I explained to him that, I wanted to mentor some women and let them know that welfare and food stamps is not their final destination.
Exactly.
And he told me, he said, well, I'm sorry, Miss Phillips. He said, I can't let you volunteer. And I said, why not? He said, because I'm going to offer you a contract
Oh,
because
wow.
you are
That's even
someone
better.
that, but I didn't even know that something like that existed. And that's why I tell students, don't chase money. I
Right.
went there for a mission. And the mission was to let some women know that, look, this is not your destination. You can have a beautiful life. And even though I was still, in the throes of my own wilderness,
Hmm.
I felt myself coming out. I had accomplished a great defeat coming from where I was to be able to, graduate from Coppin State University. I didn't even know I was smart, because when you're mired in so many personal problems,
Right.
you know, it's like clouds in the sky. The sun comes up every day, but the rain, snow, hail, clouds, it hides the sun, but it doesn't remove the sun. And
Exactly.
so many of us are walking around um, because we haven't discovered our sun, because
Hmm.
clouds and rain and our personal problems and our anger, it clouds our sunshine. And so I
Right.
finally started to see the sun break through in my life, and I wanted to share that with and I the first payment that they sent me had to be in my name because I didn't even have a name for the business. And I'm because and that's why I tell my students, don't worry about having all the pieces,
Right.
just worry about where you are at your core. And
Right.
if
And
your
getting
core
started.
is to help people, then, like I said, your faith will draw people and resources. And, and that's
So,
how my program got started.
what fields does your workforce training? Do you offer a variety of different fields, or is it
Mhm.
specific ones?
So um, I tell people that in my business, the students do a lot, but I do one thing. And my one thing is I get the students ready. I get them ready for whatever is next for them. So I teach 30-hour intense like boot camp, like readiness training. And most readiness trainings deal with resumes and dress for success. No, my readiness training deals with um, the fabric of you, your anger, your decision making, your time management, your
Hmm.
priorities. And so, because one of the things that I have to help students to understand is that they rush into my class. Oh, Miss Lisa, I want to get into the nursing program. But what I explain to students is that your life has to be set up for success. You
Hmm.
can't just jump into anything.
Hmm.
And so I help them to examine all their relationship with money, their relationship with their family members, their relationship with the people that they love. Because
Hmm.
it's not that you don't love people, it's just that everybody has to fit somewhere while you're trying to achieve something.
Exactly.
And people either love my program or they hate it. Because even if you look at my landing page, the first thing it says is do not sign up for this program unless you're ready to change your life. Because the worst thing you can do is sign up for something that you're really not ready for.
Right. Then you feel
And
defeated. Yeah.
exactly. And you could
Hmm.
lose hope and
Right.
motivation. And
Hmm.
so, but there's a formula. You have to set goals and you have to examine relationships, and what relationships are not beneficial to your goals, you have to remove them. And
Hmm.
that's the part that the students who hate the program, that's the part that they don't like,
Right.
you know.
Right. Right.
Yeah,
So
but
is your program like, is it I guess private pay, or do you
um,
still work with
so
agencies?
so I work with agencies.
Okay.
Um, so I get state and federal contracts.
Okay.
And so I did, well, I still do have community learning where the students will pay an enrollment fee depending on what they are studying. So what I do is I do the 30-hour readiness training, and then I do the coordination, helping them to get into their occupational training. So the part of the occupational training is totally free for the students
Okay.
because, and it's not free for the schools, but we help the schools commandeer the funding. And
Okay.
so funding comes from, and God bless the Obama administration because that's where this came from. So during the Obama administration, you might remember that all these trade schools got shut down
Right.
because they realized that these trade schools were predatory and people taking out all these loans, and these loans, um, all for someone to get a $10 an hour job.
Right.
And so the Obama administration created the WIOA, the Workforce Investment Opportunity Act. It's a law. And so it's in all 50 states. And so what I do is I help the students to access that to pay for their training. And so that's why the training is no cost to them. And then they come back to us for job placement and, little ancillary things like a tablet or laptop or, to help them get through training. And now my program is in 3 states. So,
wow.
yeah, I'm in Delaware,
Congratulations.
Pennsylvania, and Maryland. Yeah.
Okay. So do you hold the certifications with the states or?
No. So
Okay.
this is a collaborative business, which means that every collaborative partner has their role. My role is to get them ready and coordinate them getting into the training. So the training is usually at a community college. And so all of my trainings are at colleges because I don't want there to be any ambiguity of the authenticity of their certificate. So, there are a lot of standalone programs, but all of my trainings are at colleges. And so the colleges, it's a handoff. I give them, once I get the funding in place, I hand them off to a college. And I'm so happy because I'm approved as a SNAP training provider. But the SNAP program, because of COVID, really did a lot of reorganizing. And so what they did was they really wanted to support the training programs that were getting good outcomes. And so SNAP, as you know, is food stamps. And so if you receive food stamps, you are entitled to career training. And so SNAP pays for it. And so that's going to really be very helpful because it's a federal program. Once you get approved in one state, there's an ease of entry into every other state because it's the same program. So, so I'm excited about that.
Oh, and we have the doctor has joined us here.
Hello. How is everybody doing this evening?
Wonderful. How are you?
Wonderful. Happy to be here.
Yeah. Happy Women's Month.
That's right.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. So Miss Lisa was just telling us about her business in workforce training. So we're interested definitely to hear what's going on with your business.
Okay, so I am the owner of 3 edible arrangement franchises. I have
wow.
Yeah, it's very exciting.
Fresh fruit.
Yes, absolutely. Fresh fruit. We've now expanded to cupcakes and cheesecakes and fresh flowers. So we're growing the brand. We're trying to take over the flower business.
Yeah.
So we have one store that's located in Randallstown, Maryland, a second one in Govans, right on York Road, and then our third store is in Cannonsburg, Pennsylvania, right outside of Pittsburgh.
Nice.
So we opened the first store about 13 years ago, the second store 8 years ago, and the third one about a year ago. So we're excited to bring joy to families. That's what we do.
Wow. So is it like a franchise?
It is a franchise.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. So do you work like in the store or do you just 100% have all staff?
I have 100% staff. I worked in the store probably about a year. And I'm an educator by trade, so I miss being with my students. So I went back to be with the students and turned over the general management to my husband. So now he runs all three of the businesses while I just collect the profits.
I know that's right. I know that's right.
Yeah.
So, do you use, and see, that's one of the questions, I guess, that combining with the workforce training. Do you use like people that come off of the different programs and that may come from different workforce programs, or?
It's interesting. When we first started, I partnered with, let me think, the one out Howard County, Job Corps.
Okay.
Yeah, and I had students that were leaving the Job Corps program that were doing their training in culinary come and work actually in the store. Since that time, I have a more stable workforce. I'm blessed that most of my employees have been with me at least 8 years. So I haven't had to reach out for job training. Yeah, it's been a tremendous blessing. But we do hire people during the holidays for temporary workers. So we do need to look for partnership with other programs to bring them in and get some, training and experience during the holidays, during our busy times. And that can always lead to positions as people choose to leave.
Okay, now we're going to stop. We're going to back. You said that your employees have been with you for 8 years. So what do you think is the secret? Because that right there is phenomenal. Because even for myself, to get me to want to stay somewhere for more than 2 years,
Oh, yeah.
8 years.
The key is pay people what they're worth.
Okay.
You have to pay people what they're worth. I don't want my staff to leave. So when they ask for a raise, we give them a raise. But in addition to getting a raise, we want you to train in multiple areas of the business. You're not just going to do one job and get a raise. You need to be able to do all the functions of the business. So that's what we do. And we pay them bonuses based upon keeping our expenses down and average ticket sales going up. So they get, enticed by those bonuses and work even harder.
Okay, so I think that's wonderful motivation, bonuses. I'm going to start because I'm hiring my third employee, and it's like, ooh,
oh, excellent.
Get a little scary. So
it is.
Yeah. So how many do you actually employ?
We have, let's see, I have to count, probably about 15 employees across the 3 businesses.
Okay. Wow. That's interesting. And Miss Lisa, I wanted to ask you, is there because I know a lot of people in new positions, that open up their own businesses and stuff, that with different states, they have credits for hiring people. Do you know, if I guess if you wanted to tell any of the listeners, if you know of any of those programs that they can kind of check into?
So all of the all employers have access to tax credits when they hire underserved individuals. So it's not a matter of the employer. It's a matter of the employee, the potential employee asking, are you a participant in the tax, credit, because it's available to all employers. And so if you're a person that receives some kind of federal government assistance, then anybody that hires you is eligible for that credit, that tax credit. Yeah. But I handle hiring differently. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So what I do is, so my program was built at the university. And so the competition for talent is tremendous, and all
over there with Dr. Setzer.
Yes, she has the secret sauce.
We have to go get her.
She has the secret sauce, and so
I know, because I'm really.
Yeah, she has the secret sauce, but every organization struggles for talent, especially in this gig economy where everybody wants to be an entrepreneur, and so nobody wants to be aligned with a company. Everybody want to do their own thing, and so I've learned in my own life the best problems to have are the problems you avoid. So the way I avoid getting into that rat race of talent is my program is 100% sponsored by the University of Baltimore, which means that I do training and classes you know, on campus. Now, what I do in exchange for that sponsorship is that I make a sizable donation every year to the school of like $5,000. And so the international students don't get financial aid. So they rely heavily on scholarships. So in exchange for them, you know, working, they get a scholarship so they can stay in school. And it's been tremendous because you get individuals, for example, the person that helped me with my finance manager, he had a master's in finance. And, you know, he got a scholarship in exchange for helping to grow my business. And so that seems to be working for me because you get this enormous level of talent, but you also make somebody's dream come true by allowing them to stay in school, you know, because they can't stay here as an international student unless they're in school, and they can't stay in school unless they have a funding source. And so that has helped me, you know, grow, you know, really to 3 states in just a short period of time because I was surrounded by that kind of talent.
Wonderful.
That's excellent.
It is. It is. Like, I'm definitely impressed. 8 years.
Yeah.
Whew. And just basically to give back, you know, to them both. So both ladies married and running businesses, both with your spouses to an extent, and partners more ways than one. What would you say, I guess, is the recipe to success? Because me and my husband, we work together, and it can be quite challenging. You love them.
Yeah, I think that's written down somewhere.
But he says I'm more of a slave master. That's what he calls me. You know, a slave master. And a few birthdays, I nitpick, which is not true. How about, you know, how does it work for you guys?
Now, let me ask this. How long have you been married? Because that's the key.
22 years. I moved my camera. Okay. Yep, 22 years. I don't know which way I want to go.
Yeah. I've been in this game.
I've been married 25. For 3 whole weeks.
Oh,
she's
congratulations.
3 weeks.
You're a newbie in the game.
Yeah, I still got that,
in the honeymoon
new
phase.
car smell.
That's right.
Right.
I think the key for me has really been communication. At the end of the day, I know my husband has my back, and I trust him for that. And so as long as I keep that in the forefront, some things I just got to let go. You know, he wants to take a risk and do something. I'm like, all right, I'm going to support you, honey. I got your back in this. So I just learned to let some things go. Is it worth the argument, or is it worth me going to sleep in peace? So I just choose peace. Right. That's how I do it. I choose peace. Yep.
Yeah. And how about you, Lisa?
So with us, so when you create a business, it's like birthing a baby. And so, you know, just like a baby, you just wouldn't just hand over your baby to just anyone. And so what was hard for me, even in the relationship, was relinquishing, you know, my business. And we actually broke up for a year because, and this may sound strange, I never cheated on him with a man, but I did cheat on him with my business. And so I took that year to understand that the business is never going to be more important than the relationship.
Absolutely.
And sometimes success can fool you. Success can draw you into a false sense of, you know, security, where you really think that you have arrived. But the day that you feel that you have arrived is really the first day that you start to fail. And so I really had to make my peace with the business
Mm-hmm.
and make my peace with the fact that, I loved him and that I wanted to be with him, um, whether I had the business or not.
Mm-hmm.
And I never forget when we broke up, we both agreed that we was going to take time to work on ourselves. But he was very transparent with me. And he told me, he said, well, I'm dating again. So y'all know that crushed me, right?
Right.
Right,
Right.
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, where are you going?
Yeah.
Like, no,
After I got you together.
I would sneak on social media just to see, as my grandmother say, signify. So
Stalk it.
That's right.
and so um and so loyalty is everything to me. And
Mm-hmm.
so I accepted that he's dating and he might date somebody that he might like and want to move on with. And one of the things I love about him, even when it hurts me, he's always told me the truth.
Mm-hmm.
He's always told me the truth. And what I had to do is decide, okay, have I built enough in this relationship to try to save it? And the answer was yes. And
Mm-hmm.
so, I'm old school. I was fighting for my man. I was
I
fighting for
know.
him,
That's
I
right.
know.
Yeah.
and I don't mean, I meant I was open to doing the work. I did the
Right.
work. And
Right.
one of the things that when we got, it's so funny because um a lot of people didn't know that we broke up because I experienced so much success with him that I had all these old ex-boyfriends that treated me like dirt, all trying to just wait for him to make a mistake.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't even let on that we weren't together for a whole year. And
Mm-hmm.
because one of the things that I realized about him is that I changed seasons with him. So he saw the good, the bad, the
Mm-hmm.
ugly. And when I got sick, I think the worst time to get sick is when you are at the top of your game.
Mm-hmm.
And I was at the top of my game when I got sick. So in 2017, I was Entrepreneur of the Year by the Greater Baltimore Urban League. I
Mm-hmm.
was invited
Wow.
to the White House, so I was on this career high. And
Mm-hmm.
then my brain tumor diagnosis, just everything just imploded.
Right.
And so if something like that happens when you're already struggling, it's
Right.
almost like you're more prepared for it because
Mm-hmm.
mentally, and that's why winning is not always good to
Right.
win all the time,
Mm-hmm.
Right.
because the learning is in the losing.
It is.
Absolutely.
And and
It
and
is.
and and it took me to lose everything, which is
Mm-hmm.
actually how I ended up in all those different states because um when I got sick, it was too hard to build where you live. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
I needed to
Right.
go somewhere where people didn't know that I had been sick. People
Right.
aren't gonna, well, are you
Yeah.
gonna die? You'd be
Right.
Yeah.
surprised how people will ask you some of the craziest stuff.
Oh, they do.
And
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
and
do.
so I had to get the courage
Mm-hmm.
to go to Pennsylvania and
Mm-hmm.
not know anybody
Mm-hmm.
and just on faith alone said, you know
Yeah.
what? I have to do this because I can't win in Maryland right now. I
Mm-hmm.
can come back and win in Maryland, but I needed and that's how I got in those other states.
Yeah, that
So
goes right back to the scripture that a prophet is not was without honor in his home. So sometimes you do have to take those risks, and God puts various situations in your life to force you to move in the direction that He wants you to go.
You
amen.
are so right,
Yeah.
Amen.
Dr. K. Um,
Mm-hmm.
God, I
Mm-hmm.
always tell people that God has a sense of humor. So
Mm-hmm.
let me tell you how I got in Pennsylvania.
Mm-hmm.
So I reached out to this agency and I told them what I did.
Right.
And there was a lady, and I'm not going to say her name because somebody might know her. And she was so angry at her boss.
Mm-hmm.
And her boss was always accusing her of, not doing her work. And so at the time when I called, um, She was like, that is not true. I just approved this training program right here. She ain't know nothing about me. She ain't know nothing about me. But he was on her case, and she said, that is not true. Miss, I said, Phillips. She said, Miss Phillips said, you gonna have all your paperwork, and that's how I got,
Wow.
and she was like, oh my God, Miss Phillips, thank you for playing along because he is getting on my nerves. And so Miss Phillips, this is the approval process. So you're gonna do this, and you'll get an email from them. I ain't know what. All I knew is how to speed write. I was just writing.
Wow.
Wow.
But
That's an
that's
amazing
God
story.
having a sense of
Yeah.
humor.
Yeah.
He puts you where you're supposed to be, no matter how wacky it is, no matter how crazy it is, and he puts you where you are supposed to be. And so when I called her that day, that boss was supposed to be getting on her nerves. And
That's right.
Right. Right.
because that's why they say what's for you is for you.
For you.
It is so true.
And so even when I tell people how I got in there, I had to really learn the process because I didn't go the traditional way, and so one of the things that you can't beat is you can't beat God's blessings. You can't match it.
That's right. That's right.
When I got approved for my training, and I reached out to other organizations, they would look at the screen and then look at me and then look at the screen and say, they don't even pay people this here. Like, how did this happen? And so she gave me the highest rate. And like I said, she didn't do anything nefarious because that boss of hers had to sign off on it.
Right.
And so when you are about mission, God is right there with you.
That is it.
And every time somebody from that area see what I was approved to do there, and they see what my rate is, but I also understand that God don't make mistakes. And when I reached out to her, she said, well, Lisa, the reason people don't, she said, I didn't hook you up. She said, you got 2 master's degrees in business.
Right.
She said, we had to pay you. And we had to pay you for 20 years of workforce training experience. So she said, we only paid you with what you showed up with. And so I was so happy to hear that because, and she told me, she said, most people with double master degrees in business, they don't do this kind of work. Most people that do this kind of work, most of them only have a high school diploma. And they're driven by the passion of the work. They're not, she said, but the way you were set up and the fact that you are already doing this program at a university, a 5-star university. And that's why I'm always quick to defend Baltimore, because you don't know what we see on the news is not how other people see Baltimore.
Exactly.
They see Baltimore is with the best schools, the best universities, the best hospitals. So that's why when people in Baltimore put Baltimore down, I'm like, no, you don't know what other states. And let me tell you something, Delaware
countries.
Yes. And Delaware absolutely loves Baltimore. They love it because what people don't know is that we are creeping up to be number 1 in the tech sector.
Yeah, we do have them.
Because those tech companies they're here. And and so in the next 3 to 5 years, Baltimore is going to be the new Silicon Valley. And like I sit in those workforce training meetings and I hear what so I don't know if you're familiar with the Greater Baltimore Committee. And so that's a body where any new businesses that are coming into the city, that's their first stop, is the Greater Baltimore Committee. And so I'm a member there, and being a member, they invite you. So when they named the new police chief, he came to the Greater Baltimore Committee after he met with the mayor, because all the business leaders are at the Greater Baltimore Committee, all the CEOs, the presidents of the university. And so that's what when I mentor entrepreneurs, I teach them how to get connected, because information is power. And the more information you know about what your city is doing, the more you appreciate your role. So
Okay. So in ending and closing, getting ready to close it out, I just would love to hear, now that we're coming out of COVID, if you would tell us of course, your business name, how to contact you, and goals that you would like to accomplish. They can be general. You don't have to give us any insider, information, but just in general, what you would like to accomplish coming out of this COVID nightmare. So I'll start with you.
So one of the things that go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, I was going to let you go ahead. You started already. So one of my goals this year is really to grow the business and create a succession plan. I can't be in this business forever. And part of my goal in creating succession is to allow my managers the opportunity to purchase one of the franchises.
Wow.
So that they can grow the next generation. Because it did me well. I profited, but I want the next generation to be able to profit also. You can't be stingy with your blessings. You got to share those blessings with others. So that's part of my goal in growing and moving in edible arrangements. Also, when we look at coming out of COVID, the blessing of our business was we were able to stay open during COVID. Our franchise company, parent company, quickly pivoted to do fresh fruit and vegetables. That's what carried us through when the times were hard. I never forget that. And part of my mission is to take those fresh fruits and vegetables that we still do, and I take them to the senior center right next to our store in Randallstown, and allow the seniors to have fresh fruits and vegetables at no cost for their health. So that's part of what we do in giving back. It's not just about making money for us. It's also pouring in so that this can continue for others.
Amen. And how can we contact you?
So to reach us at Goldman's, it is 410-377-3051. And at Randallstown, it is 410-922-6860. Or you can go to the website at ediblearrangements.com and select store 572 or 1322, and we will deliver joy to you at any time.
All right.
Hey, love it. And how about you, Miss Lisa?
And so my post-COVID life is going to be to celebrate some unsung heroes. And so I'm widening my scope on reentry. And so my birthday is April 26th. And so on April 25th, I'm going to be honoring 5 grandmothers who are caring for children that their adult daughters are in prison. And so because nobody talks about the grandmothers who gave up their dreams to care for their children. And so I'm going to have a black car pick them up, and we're going to celebrate at Ruth Chris. And Ruth Chris it really surprised me. They were so excited to be a part of it, because everybody is at a place of let's celebrate people. And so I'm going to celebrate 5 grandmothers, and that's going to launch my new venture. I have a 551 program at the women's prison where I work with 5 female inmates the last 5 months of their sentence so they can be ready on day 1 of their release.
Excellent.
Oh, wow. Excellent. Yeah. Wow. So tell us how we can contact you, and whether or not, I guess if you're looking for sponsors to help you in any of those missions.
So the website is celebrateus.com, and you can reach me at 443-591-2658.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, but
wonderful.
It was so lovely meeting you two ladies.
It was wonderful. And Let me know when you do the celebration. I want to give
Yeah.
5 baskets to the women that you are, to the
Oh,
grandmothers
that's a
that you are honoring.
blessing.
Definitely want to do
Yes,
that. I wrote down
that's
your
a
number so we can touch
blessing.
base afterwards. Definitely want
I
to do that.
Yep.
appreciate that. Yep,
Yeah.
we're gonna celebrate them. Yes.
Yeah, that
Absolutely.
is wonderful. That is wonderful. So people you do accept like sponsors
Oh,
for your
absolutely.
missions. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
Mhm.
absolutely.
Okay. Okay. Well, it's been beautiful. I mean, just to be in the presence of you two ladies, I've been doing so much. And I mean, in this month, celebrating women, I celebrate everything that you contributed tonight, Miss Lisa, and of course, Dr. Setzer, you as well.
Thank you.
And
Yeah.
I am Nicole, ANC Pack and Ship, only Black-owned multi-carrier shipping outlet in Baltimore City.
Nice.
We
Excellent.
are branching out. And you can contact us. We're located at 1400 West Lombard, Baltimore, Maryland. Website is www.acpackandship. We are hiring a third person,
All right.
so we're excited
Wonderful.
about that.
Definitely.
I look forward. I'm in Randallstown all the time. I go over to Tasha's aunt.
Oh yeah.
Yep,
Down the
on
street.
Liberty
You
Road.
just gotta
Yep, Liberty Road.
You have to come up the road a little bit.
Okay, so you closer to Marrittsville?
We're in fact we're right by Brynbrook. You know where that Home Depot is?
Yeah, yep. Mm-hmm.
We're right in that shopping center.
Okay, because I have a friend that lives right behind the Walmart.
So I
it's
live
a
off of
Walmart.
Essex Road, so we're all running into each other. So I'm
Yeah,
like,
definitely.
we're
right there,
yeah.
road.
Yeah, I gotta stop by. And Miss Lisa, I definitely want to get with you on some of those different events and stuff.
Absolutely.
Because it's all about the give back once you do,
It is.
So
it's all about the give back.
It is. It is. Well, I wish you much success. Congratulations again on the marriage. Congratulations, Dr. Setzer. 3, that's accomplishment. 8 years. Listen, 8 years employee. Woo.
Yeah, I'm so grateful to God. Let me tell you, you're gonna have me running and shouting all around here.
It's an accomplishment because I'm telling you, mine, she's been with me for a year and some change. She's a good person and everything, but it's like 8 years. I'm like, I don't even know if I want to be a business owner 8 years.
Mind you, I've been in business for 14. So the first part of it was a little rough. Now it took a little while to get to that swing.
Yes,
I can imagine. But you ladies have a good night, and we are going to celebrate Mr. Donnie. And I cannot wait to, hook up with you both. So thank you for joining me tonight. Thank you so much.
Thank you for the invite. Be blessed. Be blessed.
Yeah, you too. Be blessed.